Hey guys, CJ here with Waist Rectified once again. This week we're going to be talking about a menstruation cup, more specifically the Diva cup. So if, periods and blood and all that jazz really isn't up your alley, feel free to click out of this video and maybe join us next week to see what other tips and tricks we might have in store for you. But if you want to know all about the menstrual cup and how it is life-changing and plastic-free, stick around and I'll tell you all about it right now. So what would a plastic-free journey be without tampons and pads, which are such a huge contributor to plastic waste? And it is infinite because women will always be menstruating and women will always need to find ways to handle it. So I thought that tampons were pretty much as good as it got. I kept hearing about the menstrual cups, but I really wasn't sure if they were for me, mostly because they sounded kind of intimidating. If that's you right now, that you're still intimidated by the menstrual cup, let me ease your worries and tell you that it's just like anything else. Once you get the hang of it, it is so simple. You don't have to worry about strings or other things hanging out of you at inopportune times, because we've all been there. It does have a little bit of a learning curve in my opinion, but it really is just such a game changer. So let's talk a little bit about the cup itself. I personally have used the Diva cup, which is, it looks like this, and it comes in two different sizes. There's size 1, which is for women under 30 and women who have never given birth, and then either vaginally or by C-section. And then there is size 2, which is for women over 30 and women who have given birth either vaginally or by C-section. Number 2 here. If I open up this Diva cup, you can see that it is a very soft, flexible cup. It is, I kind of was thinking it would be more firm, but it's not. It's very soft, it's very malleable. Even the top where it has this extra band around it is very easy to bend and move. And this is because they recommend that you insert it folded some way. You can either kind of fold it this way where you make kind of a little scoop, or you can just bend it completely in half. Either way, and there probably are some more creative ways that you could find on the interwebs if neither of those options seem like they're working for you. I would definitely recommend the first couple of cycles that you use it, that you have a backup method like a pad, and they do have fabric reusable pads if you're into that. But if you want to do, your usual pad backup while you use this, you're still saving waste because you're using these instead of tampons. So don't beat yourself up if you need to kind of toggle between using plastic related products and not while you make the transition to this. I don't use anything but this. And I don't know if any of you are like me, but there was always one day in my cycle where my body would just reject tampons. Like, I could not insert them. If I did, my body was like, no, and it just push those on out of there, and I would have to wear a pad all day. I don't have that problem with these silicone cups. So in all areas for me, they really have been a life changer, and I think they would be for you too if you give them a shot. I would definitely recommend sticking with them through 2 cycles, because the first cycle, it takes you a second to understand how these work and how they fit and how they feel when they're in correctly. I think the first cycle I was like, yeah, I got it. And then it was like leaking and I was like, okay, I don't got it. And I had to really kind of figure out the fit and now when I insert it and I know it's in place, I know immediately that's in place. The instructions for whichever cup you use will most likely have more detailed instructions on how that particular cup is meant to be inserted, and it can help you troubleshoot any issues that you might have. But these, the Diva cup is 100% silicone, so there's no plastic whatsoever, no BPA to worry about, nothing. And I have been using obviously not this one, but my other Diva cup for about 6 months now, and it looks just as good as brand new. The cost of the Diva cup was about $40. Sometimes you can find it on sale when it's a little bit cheaper, but considering that it's saving me about $20 a month in tampons for the last 6 months, it's more than paid for itself already. One of the great things too about the Diva cup is that if you're anticipating your period to start sometime that day, you can insert the the menstrual cup before you get your period, and you don't have to worry about toxic shock or any other sort of discomfort. If your period is regular enough that you kind of have an inkling of when it's going to start, you can preemptively protect yourself. So that saves underwear, right? And I know one of the things that might be a little daunting about using the cup is when you empty it, especially when it's full. And it is a little bit like the first few times it's kind of like, whoa, and it can be a little bit freaky to think about emptying those in a public restroom or what have you. But that just takes time. The first few times I emptied the cup, it was kind of like a messy, weird process, and I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to do this in a public space. But now that I've been using it for a few months and I'm really comfortable with it, I had to actually change the cup in a public restroom a couple days ago because I was at an all-day event and I really didn't have time to run home, you know, and take care of it. And I ended up just wiping it off with tissue paper, put it back, and made it the rest of the day, and I was fine. I found the bath tissue to be perfectly fine. Some people might put a little bit of water, keep a little, you know, bottle of water in their purse to dump out. Hopefully it'll be glass or some other reusable container if you're gonna go that route. But yeah, to just, you know, dump on the Diva cup to rinse it off really quick, and then, you know, put it back for the remainder of the day or until it needs to be changed again. And I also have found that I just use Dr. Bronner's Baby Castile soap on, I just rub some on my fingers and wash my Diva cup with it once a day, usually, sometimes more if I need to. And that hasn't affected the integrity of the cup at all. I haven't noticed any other issues. I just give it a good wash and a good rinse and I'm good to go. And then of course at the end of my cycle, I boil it and put it away for the next cycle. One thing I will say that is a downside for some, you can't have intercourse while you're wearing a Diva cup. Just FYI. The Diva cup also comes with a cool just little fabric case that you can put it in. You know, you could probably even put it in a little mason jar, like a little glass mason jar, and put the lid on in between uses under your sink, and you're good to go. So, and that's plastic free storage. I think because the makeup of the product is smooth and soft, that it just kind of becomes a part of you when you wear it. And a couple times that I have noticed that it's leaked, like it's gotten a little full, the leak is slow. So it's not like your cup is full and then all of a sudden you're gushing blood. At least that hasn't been my experience. I found myself wondering what I ever did without it now. I've heard about women burning their Diva cups like after they're done using it in an effort to then compost it because I guess you can burn silicone. I have not done enough research on that to tell you whether or not you should do that or if it's in fact beneficial, but I have heard about that. So if you are more interested in it, I would recommend good old Googling to see if it's something that you can do, and then you have like a zero waste kind of cup. I hope I answered a lot of your questions and just kind of gave you a close-up view of what these little guys look like and how they operate. I think this is one of my most favorite things that I've ever tried when I'm going plastic free because it just has altered you know, a big part of my everyday life. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope that I gave you some encouragement to try the Diva cup or any menstruation cup if you haven't done so already. And I'll be back next week with more tips or tricks for you. And I hope that you make small changes today for a cleaner planet tomorrow. We'll see you next time. Bye guys. Okay, let's try that again. It sits, I don't really know. If this isn't your cup of tea, that's cool. Just, you know, do this and it's all right.